outer authority, because as far as I'm concerned, that's what we're here for. We're here to bring our outer authority to the whole, and we get that by seeing what we see and being correct and making decisions. And I was listening to Rod the other day, I was listening to Base Theory, and he said something like, nobody ever talks about outer authority. And I'm like, I talk about that all the time.
I feel like
But
we're just coming into it.
yeah, I think maybe it hadn't occurred to me until I heard him say that maybe people aren't actually being aware that that's like to me the story of of the program. It's like if I can take decision-making authority away from my mind, who can't figure anything out. It would by now if it could. If I can give that decision making to my body, then my mind is free to be brilliant and it can offer something to you. It
Yeah.
it can share with you, or as you say, anyone who offers that kind of invitation or gives me something to respond to, the riches that I have gained throughout my life. And that's the story. That's what we're here for. That's the juicy what I have heard Ross say that the sharing of outer authority is to the nine-centered what sex was to the seven-centered.
Yes. Yes. And I think maybe we're just now getting there because, nine-centered being in itself is so tied into emotional awareness mutation. Like it started like all the way back in the 1615 or something, and in 1781 it dropped a little bit more. And it's like it's been dropping, like in 2027 is a big part of
60s
that
for a
drop
big
in.
shift, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like if outer authority wasn't gonna happen until we started coming into this emotional awareness, then there's nobody to be mad at. Like if we didn't have the ability to watch our body until we started becoming emotionally aware, there's no one to be mad at. It's like I think that we're just so much stuck in this process, and maybe it's just now time for people to start seeing and sharing outer authority. One is
Yeah.
like I try to make these markers so that I can be sure of if someone is sharing outer authority. And so someone who's not is going to be telling you what they think. Even if they're not saying, I think, they're still telling you what they think. But someone who's sharing outer authority is going to tell you what they've seen. So it's like when a decision is made for me, I didn't think anything. I saw my heart respond to this. I had the will to do it, and now I am doing it. So it's like when I'm communicating outer authority, I am aware of my inner authority and I am sharing it with you. People who can't share their inner authority's response to life with me, whether it's the process of them getting clarity or the process of feeling their sacral respond, like if you can't share that, you're not doing it yet. And that's not anybody's fault. Like we're just now scientifically realizing how dissociated from everybody's body everyone is. I think it's just now time to watch the body and share it with each other.
And it goes a long way in saying, in the personality, we have what's called motivation and view. And view is the unique perspective that each of us have, and then we can share what we see. And motivation is how we're motivated to share that. Um, and if you're using your mind to try and make decisions, you can't see what you're here to see. So you can't be motivated correctly to share your outer authority. There's just not the mechanic is just right there. I have personal views, so I'm looking at the world through my lens, right? Ross says we're the narcissists. I get annoyed with people overusing that word. I think people should use the words they really are trying to say, like a selfish asshole, instead of just calling everyone a narcissist. But anyway, um, and I'm motivated to get to the bottom of things. So I keep studying, 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 and I get this strong foundation and understanding the mechanics. But if I'm lost in trying to get my point across, as opposed to just waiting to respond with what I see, that point won't get across. Not
Yes.
even possible.
So many people spend all of their time doing that. And I think that as we're coming into emotional awareness, that is starting to look very empty of substance. Like people are wanting to leave that because they're like, wait, nothing happens with this. And it's also strange. Well, it's like, okay, mechanics. From me following my authority and watching for it, looking for it, becoming aware of it, I gain the ability to watch my mind. I gain the ability to watch the wave that moves through me, the ability to just get this like wider view. And so then maybe I can recognize the mechanics in my life. I can recognize, oh, that was 2034 in my husband or my child. It's like I can recognize things in my mom. I can also not take that trip and just read about all of the things and then think them in the moment and then throw them on them and be like, you're doing this. And
Uh-huh.
normally when that's happening, the person that's doing it, like when you're coming from a place of thinking, you're doing it to change the other person
Yeah.
because you haven't like accepted self, like you're not watching self yet. So it's like if they're trying to use the mechanics to change you, maybe it's very thinking-ish. And if they're just telling you what they're recognizing and what they see, maybe it's very like outer authority-ish. But it's hard, like I've tried so hard to build these markers and it's so unrecognizable in the experience.
What do
You
you mean
really
by
have to live it.
markers?
Like markers of someone being their inner authority and having outer authority. Like, what does that look like? What does it look like when someone's not that? And what does it look like when someone is? Like, just defining those two things, it really hasn't been done well.
Hmm.
And so I watch for them so that I can understand and see. I think it's so important for me with my ego authority. The more I've came into myself, the more resisted I've been. And it's been so important for my mind to become aware of when someone's trying to prove me. And I'll tell you, I still don't think that I'm very good at it. Like having that definition, it just goes right over my head that it's like they're using my energy and I can't even tell. It's like, but for me to become good at recognizing that, that's so much my piece. That's where my piece is. So I want to be able to do that.